Part 127. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1261. Not only him, but other people in the Wanchaiwu also kept studying these things under his orders. Reading. Time always passes quickly, and a whole year has passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi has made great progress in research, and has also gained a lot of mysterious brilliance, which has increased his spiritual wave limit. In a whole year, he eliminated about 100 new D-level ghost stories. Raised the upper limit of the true destiny to 24 hours, maintaining the state of normal true destiny. At this time, he was sitting in the basement, and 365 illusory universes appeared in front of him. Each of these universes is composed of countless truths. Each illusory universe represents the truth after an eternal truth is disassembled. In this year, Lin Yi investigated a total of 78 God-given people. These 78 God-given people include imprisoned felons and God-given people managed by the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau. Their abilities all tend to be immortal. And these immortal powers involve all aspects. It is not just vitality. The principles involved cover the 5 most basic universal rules of time and space, matter, energy, and soul. He used these basic rules to compare a lot with his true immortality. He found out the most fundamental principles among them, and finally reconstructed these principles to form these 365 virtual information universes. But these 365 virtual universes are not perfect, and there are a lot of defects in each universe. In this process, he also discovered some amazing things. That is, the principles he currently constructed for the 365 virtual universes are almost exactly the same as the principles of true immortality. This means that the principles of the true destiny of all 78 gods, including the most basic principles of immortality and indestructibility, can all be found in true immortality. This means one thing: true immortality may be the true destiny that exhausts all the basic principles of immortality. This information shocked him greatly, and it means one thing. The 6 kinds of true destiny recorded in the Yiling Jing may be perfect to the extreme, and each kind of life is composed of the most basic principles of all. All other true destinies, as long as the effect is similar, must contain the basic principles contained in the 6 true destinies. This means that his true destiny cannot be changed at all. Even if he reconstructs the true destiny, he will get the same true destiny. However, he still intends to reconstruct the immortality of the true destiny, because the original immortality of the true destiny is composed of mysterious handprints, and he only knows how but not why. But now through verification, he has concluded that the 6 true destinies are composed of perfect basic principles. Then he no longer needs more investigation, and what he has to do next is very simple. He has already found the eternal properties that constitute the 6 true destinies and reintegrated them into the true destiny. Now what he has to do is to reconstruct these eternal properties, construct the second immortality of the true destiny, eliminate the true destiny originally constructed by the true destiny handprint, and avoid unknown dangers. After he reconstructs the 6 true destinies, he can truly obtain his own true destiny. But there is a problem here: he has to solve it. What can be used to condense the eternal nature and use it as the carrier of the true destiny? In the land of life, it is the eternal nature and mind composed of countless rules to construct, but now there is not enough eternal nature. It must be completely your own thing. Then pure consciousness. What about the truth information to construct the true destiny? Maybe you can try. But after returning to Blue Star, the consciousness is hidden in the true destiny, and it is not easy to separate it out. Because he had to cross the gate of truth, Lin Yi integrated all his consciousness into the true destiny. It was precisely because of the protection of the true destiny that he could protect so many consciousnesses in the land of marine life to enter the Blue Star. This also led to a result that his consciousness and the true destiny were almost integrated. Now it takes time to separate the consciousness alone. This really confused me. Lin Yi didn't know whether to cry or laugh. In order to survive, he let his consciousness integrate into the true destiny, and now in order to get rid of possible dangers, he had to separate his consciousness again. Shaking his head slightly, he sighed, "Forget it, let's just leave it at that, we can only do it slowly. Now the power of the spiritual wave is temporarily enough, and then we will do our best to strip the consciousness." Bang bang bang. Footsteps suddenly sounded outside the basement, attracting Lin Yi's attention. Lin Yi looked up and saw Brandy coming down. "Manager, someone is here." Lin Yi's eyebrows jumped. "Okay." Zhao Hengxia came to the first floor of the Wanchai. At this time, her face was slightly solemn, her eyes were wandering, and I don't know what kind of thinking she was in. Lin Yi walked out of the basement and came directly to the opposite side of Zhao Hengxia. Looking at her uncertain expression, a smile appeared on his face. "Captain Zhao, what's the matter? It seems that you are in trouble." Zhao Hengxia looked up at Lin Yi with a strange look in her eyes. "There is a big trouble, we don't understand it." Lin Yi frowned slightly. "What trouble?" Zhang Hengxia took out a tablet computer and placed it in front of Lin Yi. "You can take a look." Lin Yi took the tablet and looked at the screen on it. It was a video recording, and a strange phenomenon was being played in the video recording. This was obviously an image observed by a satellite, and the observation location was located in the snowfield of Siberia. A huge black vortex appeared on a piece of land covered with ice and snow. The black vortex was at least 100 meters in diameter, and nothing appeared in the vortex. Then the picture turned again, and an equally huge vortex appeared in a huge desert. The picture turned to 11 places in a row, including snowfields, deserts, seas, forests, etc. 4 of them were in the sea, and 7 were on the continent. Lin Yi realized something in an instant. 7 continents and 4 oceans. This thing appeared in every area. Lin Yi frowned and looked at Zhao Hengxia in front of him. Zhao Hengxia nodded slightly, her face becoming more solemn. "Yes, it just corresponds to the 7 continents and 4 oceans. It's very strange, we have no idea what it is. But there are people with God-given abilities who have mastered the observation time, and they have discovered a huge problem. The future disappeared and turned into an endless darkness. And after observing the future and telling us that it was dark, the God-given person disappeared out of thin air. It's like being wiped out by something. It's so terrifying." The entire Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau was shocked by this incident. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1262. According to the speculations of some of us, it seems that the end of Blue Star is coming, and there is no way to reverse it. Read. Lin Yi was startled when he suddenly heard this and looked at Zhao Hengxia in disbelief. "What you said is true. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow." Zhao Hengxia looked strange. "It is indeed true. All the information points to this. The future seemed to disappear, as if something had erased Blue Star from the universe. The future of everything is dark." Hearing this, Lin Yi's brows jumped. He felt that everything seemed very wrong. "Have you sent anyone in to take a look?" Zhao Hengxia nodded solemnly. "We have sent people in a long time ago, but the result is regrettable. No one can get out. Once they get in, it's like they disappear. And the most terrifying thing is that this vortex is still expanding. The video you are seeing now was discovered 3 days ago, when they were only 100 meters in diameter. But now they have expanded to 1 kilometer in diameter. Everything enveloped by the vortex is disappearing, including things flying over the vortex. Everything within a height of 2 kilometers will be sucked into it and disappear. 7 restricted areas have now been established around the world. Didn't you use the ability of the God-given to eliminate this place? There should be a God-given with this ability. Of course there is. Whether it's time level, space level, or other levels, we have already tried it. But the speed at which we eliminate it is nothing compared to the speed at which the vortex is expanding. And once you use various levels of God-given abilities to kill it, it will trigger inexplicable reactions. All the God-given people who use their power to kill will be affected and then disappear out of thin air. Now it's not just us, even the Doomsday Cult has contacted us. According to what they said, their leader, Doctor, is also secretly trying to eliminate this vortex. But it failed, and even the Doctor himself disappeared. The Doomsday Cult also felt the panic, so they contacted us and wanted to work with us to solve this terrifying whirlpool. Our current judgment is that there is a mysterious unknown force affecting Blue Star. And this kind of power is swallowing up the entire Blue Star. We can't imagine it. Now I come to you on behalf of the entire Abnormal Event Investigation Bureau. Do you want to take a look? Lin Yi's face was solemn. This kind of unknown and expansion-type strange incident cannot be avoided by hiding. If the vortex really continues to expand, it will expand here sooner or later and engulf the entire Blue Star. He will have no place to hide. After Wei Wei thought for a moment, he had the answer. I can go take a look. Where is the nearest whirlpool? The closest one is in our country's Tulu Basin. When can I go there? Zhao Hongxia narrowed her eyes and said, you can do it at any time. Lin Yi nodded slightly, okay. Without any time delay, Lin Yi and Zhao Hongxia left the Wanchaiwu View directly, took a chartered flight at the airport in Furong City, and flew to the Tulu Basin. The nearest airport to the Tulu Basin is located in a famous city called Goshenur. When the plane came here, it was already 3 p.m. As soon as Lin Yi and Zhao Hongxia got off the plane, a black Hummer was already waiting for them. After getting on the Hummer, they quickly headed into the distance. The location of the whirlpool was very far away from here, about 200 kilometers away. It took 3 hours of this trip before they arrived at their destination. At this time, a large number of military tents have already gathered here, as well as various blockades, and fully armed troops are stationed here. Anyone who wants to enter must go through strict inspections, and it is impossible to sneak across. Lin Yi and Zhao Hongxia also underwent strict identity verification before being allowed to enter the blocked area. The cordoned-off area was at least 1 kilometer away from the real problem, and they arrived at the scene after driving for 5 minutes. Lin Yi and Zhao Hongxia stepped off the Hummer and stood in front of a huge whirlpool. Under their feet, the vortex was expanding towards them, and the speed was not slow. Lin Yi looked at the whirlpool with a hint of surprise in his eyes. This vortex is pitch black, but you can see that the darkness inside is obviously like water ripples, and these ripples form a huge whirlpool. The darkness seemed to swallow up all light, and the boundary moved away bit by bit at a speed visible to the naked eye. Lin Yi looked at these, his eyes flashed with the light of true destiny, but what shocked him was that what he saw with his true destiny power were countless terrifying and weird messages. It was some unexplained information, it seemed to be some kind of murmuring, and he couldn't understand it even after being transformed and understood by the true life Daoji. Only a small amount of this information was understandable to him. Destiny, death, destruction, slavery, order, some unknown pieces of information. The most terrifying thing for him was that while he was observing the whirlpool, an inexplicable crisis enveloped his heart. Instantly he stopped observing, he found that there might be some unpredictable unknown existence, sensing his observation. What is there in the universe where this blue planet is? Why is it so terrifying? Why are all these incomprehensible things? Lin Yi could never understand why so many things happened on an ordinary planet. God-given, strange events, the 4 ancient civilization eras, the solar system that cannot be escaped, and the huge black vortex that has appeared now. Everything indicates that the blue planet is unusual. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yi turned and walked towards the Hummer. Let's go, I need to ask someone. Maybe he knows some information. Zhao Hongxia heard Lin Yi's words, and a glimmer of hope suddenly appeared in her eyes. At this time, the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau and the Doomsday Cult have tried almost all methods, but all have nothing. Finally, she heard a different news from Lin Yi, and there was a glimmer of hope in her heart. Not only her, but all the upper echelons in the world are paying attention to this place. Lin Yi sat on the Hummer, holding a card in his hand, and the power of the spiritual wave was injected into it. The next moment, his consciousness silently entered a wonderful world. It was dark here, with only the network on the ground and the entire Earth information reflected under the ground. He opened the cursor to contact Ling Shan. He stretched out his hand and clicked the cursor directly. The cursor flashed and a figure appeared. It was Ling Shan. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1263. Lingshan Clan appeared and looked at Lin Yi with a surprised look, with a smile on his face. Read. Fellow Taoist Lin Yi, we meet again. Looking at you, it seems like something has happened to you. Lin Yi nodded solemnly. Yes, there is a major matter that may come to you now. There was a hint of surprise in Lingshan's eyes. What's the matter? It seems serious. Some huge black vortices have appeared on the blue star. They are constantly expanding. At the current speed, they may swallow the entire blue star in up to a year. Some of the abilities of the God-given can eliminate this vortex, but all the God-given who do this will disappear in an instant, as if they were wiped out by some existence. There is a mysterious and unknown power that has appeared on Blue Star. I want to ask you, do you know what kind of power this is? Have you received any information about this power again? I used my true power to probe. What was detected was only some fragments of information, full of information about death, fear, chaos, order, slavery, etc. When Lingshan heard what Lin Yi said, there was a trace of shock and confusion on his face. His face fell into serious contemplation for a moment, and he seemed to be searching for possible information in his huge information library. The news brought by the other party is also related to him. If the entire Earth is swallowed, can its cave system still exist? Although the Dongtian system is an independent space built based on his power and technological calculations. In this kind of space, there is usually only one anchored place, and if the Earth disappears, its cave system will also be affected, and it may be destroyed. It would also expose him to danger. Taking a step back, even if the Dongtian system is fine, if he loses humans and has no sacrificers, he will probably die. He fell into deep thinking and searched for countless information. He frowned and then slowly looked at Lin Yi. In my era, the era of the most advanced technology, the first generation of true kings once had a prophecy. He said that everything on earth would eventually come to an end, the end of an unknown being. He said that all Genming level experts will face a huge disaster. What exactly is this disaster? He couldn't explain it. He just had a premonition that such a disaster would come. He can't be sure in what form or when the disaster will come. The whirlpool disaster you are telling me now is by no means a normal ghost story, but a force independent of ghost stories. Perhaps this is the disaster that the true king warned us about in the first place. This disaster, based on his information, seems to be inescapable. After hearing this, Lin Yi's expression froze slightly, and this information left him somewhat speechless. Do you have any ideas? Lingshan smiled to himself. I'm just a person hiding in a turtle shell, what can I do? I'm afraid we are really in danger of escaping. This vortex will not only cover the Earth. Maybe the entire solar system is enveloped. We can't get out or escape. The only thing waiting for us is to be swallowed up. Really? I don't believe this. Lin Yi's eyes were gloomy, and he left here in a blink of an eye. Lin Yi woke up and looked at Zhao Hengxia. The situation is not good. This seems to be a real doomsday disaster, not some weird incident. I can't solve it for the time being, unless there is more information. Zhao Hengxia trembled slightly when she heard Lin Yi's words. He was the most mysterious and powerful person she had ever come into contact with. But such a terrifying existence cannot solve the mysterious vortex in front of us. What does that mean? Zhao Hengxia knows it all too well. If we escape from the universe, is it possible for us to survive? Looking at Zhao Hengxia's gaze, Lin Yi shook his head and laughed. This is impossible. Once humans leave the solar system, they will die directly. At this point, I won't hide it from you. Every human being has an independent true life within his body, but the true life seems to be affected by something and is bound within the scope of the solar system. Once we leave, the true life is gone from us and the person dies. Before us, Blue Star has experienced 4 civilization eras, and each civilization era has different development priorities. Of course, they have one thing in common, that is, they all have the power of true life, but in the end they were also destroyed in the strange incident. The reason why I think this is the end of the world is because this vortex should have been predicted by the true king of the first generation civilization. This is a catastrophe that all those who have a true life must experience. Death is coming. Looking at Lin Yi's calm face and listening to the other party's bland description, Zhao Hengxia felt terrified all over, and an unspeakable suffocation pressed in her heart. Logically, I should let you go back and tell the people behind you to prepare for the final death. But now I have a new idea. If it succeeds, maybe there is hope for everyone. Zhao Hengxia's eyes lit up when she heard this. What else can you do? It's just a matter of putting yourself to death and living later. It all depends on you, whether you are willing to support me in this matter. Zhao Hengxia's eyes were firm. What is your plan? I will go and convince them. Lin Yi looked at Zhao Hengxia, with a faint smile on his face. You can't understand my plan, but the specific content is like this. Zhao Hengxia listened to Lin Yi's words, with a trace of disbelief in her eyes. She was thinking about the feasibility of it. Although she was so desperate, there seemed to be a glimmer of hope. Blue Star seemed to have fallen into an inexplicable change in an instant. All human governments took action, and a mysterious meeting was being held. In a huge virtual conference hall, projections appeared one after another. They are the people who control the world's economy, military, and power. This is the shadow ruler of the whole world. All forces are under their secret control. They even control the development process of human history. At this time, a man appeared in the center of the conference hall. He was wearing a pale and faceless mask, and he only heard him slowly say, "Everyone, the current situation is very urgent. The danger beyond the ghost story has appeared on Blue Star." As the voice fell, a pattern appeared in the virtual space. There are 11 patterns in total, showing a continuously expanding black vortex. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1264. This vortex has expanded from a diameter of 1 kilometer to 10,000 meters in 3 days, and the speed is getting faster and faster. According to this speed, the entire Earth will be swallowed by these vortices in less than a year. All people and life, including the Earth itself, will disappear. As his voice fell, the conference hall exploded instantly. Various languages reverberated. How could this happen? Are you kidding? Is this not some kind of weird incident? What about the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau? Why don't they solve this problem? How much funding and support do we have to provide them every year? Can't even this problem be solved? Countless questions and angry voices rang out in the virtual conference hall. Silence. The person in the middle of the virtual conference room raised the hammer in his hand and slammed it heavily on the table in front of him. Dong, dong, dong. The sound of impact quickly rang in everyone's ears, suppressing their noisy voices. At this time, the person presiding over the meeting said slowly, "The Doomsday Cult has also contacted us, and their leader, the Doctor, has also disappeared in the vortex and is nowhere to be found. They are willing to cooperate with us to overcome this crisis. However, we have used the most advanced quantum computer for calculations, and the result is that destruction is bound to come, and no force can stop the doomsday. The destruction of mankind is inevitable." As his voice fell, the entire conference room was silent, and everyone's heart was filled with fear of death. "What should we do now, Archon? You are not here just to announce the extinction of mankind." The hoarse voice resonated with everyone, and all eyes fell on the mysterious Archon. The Archon is the executor of various events selected by the Shadow World, and is replaced every 5 years. The Archon nodded slowly, "Yes, I am not here to simply announce the destruction of mankind. According to the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau, the Huaxia District Furong City Executive Captain, the God-given ability user Zhao Hongxia reported. That mysterious Mr. Lin Yi, he seems to have a way to save us. But the prerequisite is that we must fully support his research. If his research succeeds, we may be able to survive. If it fails, it will be a dead end." She did not report the specific situation, because Mr. Lin Yi did not reveal any of his research results to us. The question now is, do we fully support him? Accompanied by the words of the Archon, the entire venue became completely lively. Someone said in a low voice, "Catch him and figure out his research. We cannot pin our hopes on him, but must firmly grasp them in our own hands. Do you know how long this will take? What if he destroys all the research information because of our actions? Waiting for death? Then at least let him publish the information. We need to judge whether his research is meaningful. We should make every effort to build a spaceship and fly out of the Earth. Maybe we can survive for a while. What about the God-given world plan? Use the power of the God-given to build a safe fortress where we can survive. The black vortex will also be affected by the power of the true destiny. As long as there are enough God-givens, we should be able to get rid of it." All kinds of noises and suggestions continued to sound, and the whole venue fell into chaos. No one can be calm in the face of death. Although this shadow world guides the development of the entire society, that is in the future, and they will always be the top of society. But the current situation is that the future is about to disappear, and their calmness will naturally disappear. It exposes their nature that is the same as that of ordinary humans, greedy, stupid and chaotic. Dong dong dong. The Archon pried his hammer again. "Silence, silence." Under the intervention of the Archon, everyone had to stop their discussion. At this time, the Archon continued, "The situation has been clarified. Everyone will summarize their opinions and put them into the quantum computer for calculation. Derive the most appropriate suggestions, and then start to implement the plan according to the suggestions. Quantum computers are a newly emerged product that have solved a large number of problems for the shadow world. Originally, even the future schedule and the process of human social development were calculated clearly. But now a sudden disaster has directly shattered everything, and everyone has lost their future." The Archon made a decision on the spot. As the Archon of this term, he has the right to make decisions when there are endless arguments. And when they heard his words, everyone was slightly silent. The conclusions drawn by the quantum computer after deduction must be more pertinent than their personal emotions. In the end, no one objected, and everyone began to input something in front of them. A huge screen appeared above the head of the venue, and a cold and mechanical voice slowly sounded. 38,000 opinions have been recorded and deduced. The system's full computing power is released, the power is turned on, the cooling system is turned on, The highest specification deduction program begins, and the artificial intelligence information reconstruction begins. The calculation time is 1 hour and 15 seconds. Start now. As the mysterious mechanized voice sounded, everyone fell into silence and began to wait quietly. In this illusory mysterious space, something concerning the future of the entire human race is rapidly fermenting. And the key point of all this, Lin Yi has returned to the Eurozwia. His face is a little solemn. At this time, the Eurozwia has closed down. Brandy and Sakuramiya surely are around him. They naturally see that Lin Yi is worried. Only heard Brandy asked, "Manager, what happened? From your appearance, it seems very serious." Lin Yi looked up at them, and a pair of inquiring eyes fell on him. Lin Yi thought about it and didn't hide it, and directly said everything. The world may be destroyed, and suddenly a strange disaster appeared, and I can't see more information. The disaster is... Lin Yi didn't hide anything and told them everything he saw. Hearing Lin Yi's description, Brandy and others all changed their faces. This kind of thing is beyond their understanding. If everything goes as Lin Yi guessed, the vortex will eventually cover the entire solar system and swallow everything. Everyone's expression changed, realizing the seriousness of the matter. Then what should we do next? The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1265. Lin Yi sighed deeply. To be honest, there may be only one way, but I am not sure whether this method will succeed. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. What method? Sakura Miyaswili looked at Lin Yi and said solemnly. The end of the world is approaching. No one wants to die. If there is a glimmer of life, they will hold on to it. True destiny, I need to create true destiny infinite. As long as the true destiny infinite is completed, relying on my other true destiny power, forming a perfect and invincible true destiny system, I can save everyone from the threat of disaster. But true destiny infinite is not so easy to complete. It requires a lot of eternal properties and true destiny as reference. The most important one is the true destiny with the power of restoring truth as a reference. Whether it can be constructed successfully in the end is also an unknown number. If it fails, you may die on the spot. Everyone immediately realized the danger when they heard Lin Yi's words. After all, the existence of true destiny is no longer a secret, and they immediately understood what Lin Yi meant. They also know part of the power that Lin Yi controls. There is only one thing that limits the power of the true destiny, and that is the power of truth. Every person who condenses the true destiny has the power of truth, but their characteristics are different. The power of truth is related to the true destiny itself. If you want to create a true destiny that can generate infinite power of truth, you must first know the power of the true destiny you control. Secondly, through countless comparative experiments, it is almost impossible to find the power of truth that can generate the corresponding true destiny. The power of truth generated by each true destiny is different. Now we have to use the eternal nature to construct a true destiny that can generate infinite power of truth. And this power of truth must be exactly the same as the power of truth of other true destiny, which is a very contradictory thing in itself. The power of truth generated by each true destiny is different, so different true destiny cannot generate the same power of truth, just like two parallel lines can never intersect on a plane. Although this is difficult to say and understand, this is the most troublesome part of the infinite true destiny. However, Lin Yi now has an idea in his mind. He vaguely realizes how to construct the infinite true destiny. The true power generated by his 6 true destinies is the same, and they all have a characteristic, that is, they perfectly contain the most basic truth similar to the true destiny. The true destiny he holds produces the most basic true power, without any impurities and characteristics, so it cannot affect any other external things. Therefore, he needs to find enough samples and corresponding true destinies, and through comparison, find the basic truth of restoring the true power, so that it is possible to complete the eternal nature of the infinite true destiny. This requires the support of all forces on the earth, whether it is superficial or hidden, and may even require ordinary people as samples. I hope they can agree, otherwise I have no choice but to try to save myself. Time passed slowly, and in the wonderful virtual space, a conclusion was being played out. A cold and mechanical voice slowly sounded. Quantum computer number 1, the deduction of this event is completed, and the conclusion is as follows. Based on all the information collected about Lin Yi, his personality is assessed as neutral and lawful, and he can be used as a trading partner. Secondly, the destruction of this world is a destined event and cannot be changed. Third, there is a 60% probability that the conditions proposed by Lin Yi are true, and the probability of success is 10%. Due to insufficient information, it is difficult to make a complete deduction. Considering the neutral and lawful personality and the survival instinct that is the same as all humans, the above probability can be obtained. Fourth, in summary, it is recommended to have full contact with Lin Yi and ask what the final plan is. Quantum computer number 1 will conduct a deeper deduction again. The Archon nodded slowly after hearing this. Now the deduction results have appeared. According to the rules of the Shadow World, I now announce it. The Abnormal Event Investigation Bureau, Furong City Executive Captain Zhao Hongxia is responsible for contacting Lin Yi and providing him with all the support he wants. At the same time, the space base plan will be launched. According to ancient documents, humans cannot leave the solar system, but we can get a respite in the space of the solar system. This meeting ends here. As the voice fell, everyone in the space quickly disappeared, and mysterious figures from all over the world woke up from the virtual world. Countless people's eyes showed haze and fear. They enjoy power, wealth, and everything, and what they fear most is the arrival of death. Everyone is looking forward to the first plan. They expect Lin Yi to find a way to save mankind. As for the second space base plan, they all know that even if it is completed, no more than 10,000 people can really enter the space base. This is determined by current technology. They cannot create a base for a large population to survive in space for a long time in a short period of time. The so-called second plan is just better than nothing. At this time, a large number of people have taken a plane to Huaxia Furong City. They are eager to meet the mysterious Lin Yi. In a short period of time, the strong man who solved hundreds of strange events may be the last hope of all mankind. The changes on the earth have also caused some other changes. In a mysterious world covered by light, there are pavilions, towers, and floating islands floating quietly here. On each island, a figure appeared, and there was a true light that shot straight into the sky. The true light intertwined in the sky, and then fell, as if it formed the foundation of this world. The islands were densely packed, tens of thousands of them. There were all kinds of life on the islands, both human and non-human, but they all had a unified feature, that is, clear eyes, filled with a sense of vicissitudes of time. Only a loud voice sounded, "Fellow Taoists, the world is changing dramatically, and the final impact is coming. Everyone is ready to deal with the ultimate impact. The backstage of everything is finally coming. Life and death, success or failure, this is a fight. I have negotiated with Yangzhe, they will meet the final impact with us. Whether you can leave the cage depends on this time." All the people in this space slowly stood up, and a larger true destiny spread out from them and merged into the world. In a world shrouded in darkness, this is a continent of flames. Black flames, red flames, and poisonous smoke floated in every corner. This is a volcanic continent, which is constantly rising from the border to the center. At the highest point, it looks like a huge black crater. Black light beams appeared one after another in this area. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1266. These things are extremely twisted. If you look closely, it seems that there are billions of resentments in them. They are made up of black lines. Read. This extremely terrifying scene will scare anyone who sees it. At the bottom of the light column are strange-looking humans, whose eyes are full of anger, despair, unwilling obsession, and other emotions. And in their bodies, there are true lives that are completely infected by black lines. One after another black swollen lines appear on this true life, and the true life beats strangely like a heart. The majestic power gushed out from it, supporting the black light column, allowing them to fall from the sky and surround this huge volcanic continent. In the center of the volcano, there is also a huge light column rising from it. It is a strange figure. His head seems to have 6 faces, and the front face is indifferent. The 5 faces on the side and the back have 5 expressions of joy, anger, sorrow, happiness, and fear. In his mind, 6 true destinies were flashing, and they were also entangled by countless black lines, beating like a heart. His eyes looked down at the entire dark and terrifying continent, and a torrent of thoughts sounded in everyone's mind. The final impact is about to begin, everyone is ready to welcome it. I have discussed with the King of Kings. This impact will advance and retreat together. If it succeeds, we will all get rid of this situation of neither death nor life. Start the ultimate change. As his voice fell, more powerful power gushed out of his body. The people under the black light pillars opened their eyes, and a trace of excitement appeared in their hearts. The majestic black light rushed to the sky, turned into a huge black sky, and quickly enveloped the whole world. In a short period of time, this world was shrouded in black, and everything was shrouded in black lines, which looked extremely weird. It was as if something terrible was bred in it. And all these changes have also had a huge impact on the earth. What is that? Look, something has appeared in the sky. A burst of exclamations rang out around the world. In the sky, a black and white ball of light appeared at some point. They were somewhat illusory, but extremely clear, and everyone could see their existence. This was obviously an extraordinary phenomenon. At this time, governments of countries around the world and the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau held a meeting again. They were nervous about the 2 huge balls of light that suddenly appeared in the sky. In just a few days, the earth seemed to have changed, and all kinds of problems appeared. At this time, Lin Yi also noticed the changes in the sky. His eyes were solemn, and the light of the true destiny was flashing. His eyes saw the 2 balls of light in the sky. He had seen some information in the 2 balls of light. In the blur, one after another huge breath shocked him. There are so many true powers, at least tens of thousands. It's the heaven I saw, and there's a hell-like place. Are they going to be born? It seems that the vortex is more dangerous than I thought, and it has affected them. Lin Yi didn't know what the 2 strange spaces of heaven and hell represented. But the characters in them were obviously accumulated over countless times. How terrifying they are will only be known when they really appear. At this time, he had left the Wanchaiwu and appeared in a huge underground base. The cells made up of strange transparent blocks were moved here. All of them were selected by him, and they had the true lives he needed. The true lives they had a characteristic that they could use their true lives for a long time. That is to say, their true power recovery ability is very strong, or the true power consumption is very small, or the true life itself has a special ability that can restore the true power in a short time. All those in the cages are criminal God-given people, a total of 97. At the same time, the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau and the Doomsday Cult have also sent their God-given members information. Among them, 78 people met Lin Yi's requirements and they have gathered here. One of them is the one that Lin Yi cares about particularly. Because this person has 2 true lives, one of which has the power to quickly restore the true power of himself and others, which is very amazing, and it can ignore the difference in true power. In addition to the true life itself, Lin Yi also values this person before he came to the earth. In his original world, he consciously created a true life that can quickly restore the true power. Obviously, he noticed the weakness of the true life. The most amazing thing is that he can create the true life in a targeted way. It means that this person has an extraordinary understanding of the true life. This person is called West, from the United States, and immigrated from Eastern Europe. This person is very important to him, giving him the ability to observe the true life almost non-stop for 24 hours. He can help him recover the real consumption at any time. One prisoner after another screamed in Lin Yi's hands, and everyone saw this scene. On an operating table, various instruments, under Lin Yi's control, stimulated the prisoners in front of him. The prisoner's body was even injected with drugs that could increase nerve sensitivity, and then he was stimulated. Let his pain increase 10 times, and his true life fluctuates wildly in his pain. Wanting to exert its effect, he attacks Lin Yi and breaks through the shackles. But unfortunately, all this was in vain and fell completely into Lin Yi's control. What Lin Yi wanted was for them to do this, while she observed the other person's fate with a blank expression. This operation has been going on for a week, and he has basically determined that at the current speed, he will be able to see all the mysteries of his true life in 3 days. Most of the true lives do not have more than 365 eternal qualities. Almost all are 108 and below, which is already the highest. This progress is acceptable, and we may be able to catch up. Lin Yi murmured to himself, a trace of thought flashing in his eyes. Lin Yi would receive messages from all over the world every day, and the vortexes on the ground were getting bigger and bigger, and one of them was even close to a city. The information of the catastrophe could no longer be concealed. A huge city was swallowed up. New York, located in the beautiful country, has completely disappeared. Although most people had evacuated before he disappeared, the impact on the entire world was huge. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1267. Countless people knew what was happening. It seemed that the end of the world had come, so fast and so inexplicably. Soon someone calculated the time for these vortices to engulf the earth, which was about 350 days away. But in the process, some people would die before this time, because Blue Star did not have so many materials to support more than 6 billion people for a year without production. In this era of universal enlightenment, no one is a fool, and everyone knows what the next result will be. The crazy rush to buy materials began, and everyone began to hoard materials frantically. There were people and pigs on the streets. Even if they could live one more day, they wanted to survive, and cars became a must-have item for everyone. They must have a car to move and avoid this ever-expanding vortex. But it is foreseeable that as time goes by, many people will die. Everything in the outside world has begun to move towards chaos, and all organizations around the world have directly issued emergency declarations. The Blue Star Rescue Committee appeared, and the news was being broadcast on TV. The Save Blue Planet Committee has just announced that after calculations by multiple supercomputers around the world, the 11 whirlpools are constantly expanding, and one place will be the last to be submerged. The Pearl River Delta in southern China. All the world's highest level materials will be shipped there, and all humans can go there one after another. A huge city will be built there to accommodate all humans in the world. China's infrastructure has been fully launched, and 200,000 machines of various types have begun to build temporary residences at the same time. All materials in the world will also arrive within January, and food will be enough for all humans for a year. At the same time, the Ark and space base plans are officially launched. Independent spaceships and bases will be built, and suitable humans will be selected according to race to enter them as the last spark of mankind. I hope everyone will abide by the arrangements of the Save Earth Committee, and the committee will not give up on anyone. Lin Yi looked at the news displayed on the screen, and a strange look appeared on his face. He didn't expect that such a Save Blue Planet committee would be created in such a short time, and it would not give up on everyone. It sounded extremely suspicious. At this time, he was still conducting experiments. The third prisoner appeared in front of him. The true fate of the first two prisoners had been completely analyzed by him. Shaking his head slightly, he no longer paid attention to the news flashing on the screen of the base, but continued to concentrate on the experiment. In the entire base, there was no one except the God-given. The God-given prisoners were imprisoned, while the God-given of the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau and the God-given of the Doomsday Cult could move freely and maintain the operation of the entire base. But every time they saw Lin Yi's experiments on those prisoners, they were horrified. Expressionless, as indifferent as a butcher. It made them feel scared from the bottom of their hearts. They vaguely felt that they might be the next target. The death row prisoners who were experimented by Lin Yi would not die, but they would appear irritable. After all, how could ordinary people endure such a long period of pain? 3 days and 3 nights were enough to cause psychological trauma. Time passed slowly, and half a year passed in the blink of an eye. In the past 6 months, the entire blue star has become bleak. The huge vortex spread wildly, and the black and white lights in the sky were always hanging there. No one knew what they represented. Some countries even tried to approach them with airplanes, but they flew right through them. The two black and white balls seemed to exist in another time and space. They might be the eyes of gods, looking down at the extinction of mankind. Countless people could only wait quietly for death. In the Pearl River Delta region on the Earth, an unimaginably large city has been built, covering hundreds of kilometers of ground. This city is built of steel plates and steel columns, with only 3 floors at the highest, covering the entire ground. Countless people have moved in. Each house is no more than 10 square meters in size, but 8 people live in it. This large area of houses was built 3 months ago and accommodated hundreds of millions of people. Almost all of those who can come here are elites from all over the world, as well as local Chinese residents near here. The remaining billions of people have no way to come here at all, because there are not enough transportation tools that can allow them to arrive here within 6 months. Some continents have been completely in chaos and even swallowed by the vortex. If you look down from the sky, you will find that there are 11 huge pits on the earth, occupying most of the area. There is despair everywhere, and the order of most cities has collapsed. During the past 6 months, many terrible things have happened. Some strange events hidden deep underground seem to be disturbed with the appearance of the vortex. Then comes the outbreak of disaster. A huge ancient ruins appeared in the entire North American region. Countless terrifying beings rushed out of the ruins, which seemed to be some kind of puppet-like thing made of mud. These puppets look like an army that swallowed up the entire North American continent 2 months ago. However, this terrifying ruins and the puppets on it were also swallowed by the huge vortex, with no ability to resist, which was extremely terrifying. The strange incident that was supposed to be unsolvable was swallowed up so easily. All of this is so weird and terrifying that people can't understand the power of the black vortex. The Pearl River Delta, a living area where hundreds of millions of people live, has become very chaotic due to the excessive population. It is difficult to maintain public order, and tens of thousands of tons of garbage are generated every day. These garbage will be transported to the nearest abyss, thus solving the human garbage problem. Abyss is the name given to this all-devouring whirlpool by humans. In the underground laboratory, in half a year, because of Lin Yi's busy day and night, he had thoroughly analyzed the true fates of all the prisoners he had selected. As he becomes more proficient, his analysis of true destiny will naturally become faster and faster. Only then could he complete the analysis of these true lives within half a year. All that's left is to continue analyzing the Doomsday Cult and the God-given ones from the Abnormal Events Investigation Bureau. At this time, there was a God-given person standing in front of him, but there was a trace of fear and nervousness on the other person's face. After all, they had been watching here for half a year and were very aware of Lin Yi's brutal methods. The miserable appearance of those prisoners was still fresh in their memory. But because Lin Yi promised that they would not experience pain like the prisoners, he dared to stand here. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1268. In the past 6 months, Lin Yi has gained a lot reading. The first is that he has completely separated his mind and consciousness from his original true destiny. He can still use his true destiny now, and it will not be affected by the separation of consciousness and mind. He discovered that the Yiling Jing can also be separated from his mind and become the core of the 6 true destinies. And he realized a problem: as a person who left the Blue Star, why doesn't he have his true destiny in his mind? In theory, every Blue Star should have a true destiny. This made him worry in his heart, and he didn't seem to be such a simple existence. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Looking at the God-given in front of him, Lin Yi's face showed a smile. Don't be nervous, you are not prisoners, you won't be treated like that, but it will be a little painful. The man in front of him showed an awkward smile on his face. Okay. Lin Yi shook his head slightly, and then began to use the true destiny solution to continue observing. In his mind, there have been messages that constitute eternal nature. In this world, the power of the mind cannot work at all. But he has a complete mind, and he can use the illusory power of the mind and the principle of eternal nature in his mind to weave an illusory eternal nature. 6 cycles composed of eternal nature appeared in his mind, and they are the original form of true destiny. At this time, these 6 cycles of eternal nature are undergoing some wonderful changes, condensing the prototype of true destiny, but they are all illusory and exist only in his mind. Lin Yi doesn't know whether they can turn into real true destiny in the end, but he can be sure that the 6 true destinies that have been condensed again are truly his own. At the level of the mind, Lin Yi's mind feels above the mind, where there are 6 true destinies surrounding the Yiling Jing, just like a magic weapon under his control. But Lin Yi doesn't trust this control. Since he knew the King of Truth, he has been alert to this mysterious scripture. He shook his head slightly, and there were nearly 7,000 kinds of information about eternal nature floating in his mind, which were composed of countless principles. Some came from the prisoners, and some came from the God-given, all of which were the basis of their true destiny. While Lin Yi was observing the God-given in front of him, he was also selecting and comparing the most fundamental similar principles of these eternal natures. Through comparison, he constantly selected one common principle after another, which he named the basic principle, involving the direction of a certain true destiny. At this time, the basic principles he selected appeared alone in an area, composed of illusory spiritual power. Then, these principles were evolving spontaneously, pairing with each other, as if they were constructing one independent universe of principles after another, and finally evolving eternal nature. This process was not fast. So far, these principles selected after comparison have only evolved 36 eternal properties, which has consumed 2/3 of the basic principles. Looking at the God-given in front of him, Lin Yi sighed slightly in his heart. I don't know how long it will last next. After all, it can't be too painful, which naturally reduces efficiency. If it really doesn't work, I can only follow the Ark spaceship and go to space to delay for a while. Time always passes quickly. In a blink of an eye, it is the 11th month. At this time, 93% of the blue planet has disappeared, and death is everywhere. The Pearl River Delta is also in a state of high tension. Any illegal behavior will be executed directly on the spot, and there will be no second choice. In troubled times, people are the least lacking at this time. And the filth and all garbage will be transported to the abyss. This base barely maintains the last operation. Everyone knows that death is only a matter of time, and the entire earth has only this safe place left. The area is only a few thousand square kilometers. Almost every corner is full of people, and everyone is given a month's food, which is their last food. And underground in this area, a huge flying object with a length of 1 kilometer is sleeping there. The surface of this flying object looks very smooth, and the exquisite streamlined structure shows a perfect shape. At this time, well-dressed people were walking in. They were all the most powerful and knowledgeable people on the planet. They were all people who bought tickets and paid a lot of cash. In this last year, this mysterious flying object could take off again. They naturally obtained the qualification to enter. In addition to them, there were God's ends with mysterious abilities, and they also had the right to enter. At this time, Lin Yi was preparing for the final action. He was going to fulfill his promise. The research on all God's ends had ended, and a piece of eternal nature was evolving in his mind, but their number could only reach 81. This was not enough to form a true destiny infinite, but only a true destiny close to true destiny infinite. He had also deduced the effect. The true power born was exactly the same as his own true power, which could allow Lin Yi to recover all his strength within an hour after exhausting his spiritual waves. If he can grasp the rhythm of spiritual wave consumption and recovery, he can always keep himself in a state where spiritual wave will never be exhausted. However, it is not easy to form this true destiny. It requires a lot of spiritual power. It's not time yet. At this time, he stood on the tallest building on the surface of the earth and looked around. Densely packed, all people, their eyes showed despair, one by one sitting on the ground or crowded in the house, no hope on anyone's face. They had dull eyes and held the last month's food in their hands. These were all compressed food that could only sustain survival. In this area of hundreds of square kilometers, more than 500 million people have been accommodated. The remaining humans on Earth have all been swallowed up. Looking at these last remaining people, Lin Yi sighed slightly. He didn't want it to be like this, but the world never changed according to his will. He took a deep breath, and notes appeared in front of countless people. Xuanhuan and Sakuramiya Shirley and others have turned into spiritual states again and been taken into his spiritual level. In the land of marine life, those beings who had signed contracts with him were still sleeping in the deepest part of his heart, waiting to be revived. Now Lin Yi wanted to sign contracts with these remaining humans to preserve their information consciousness. Words appeared on the contract one by one: if you want to have hope of survival, sign this contract. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1269. The content of the contract is to exchange your true life information for the chance for your consciousness to survive. In the future, I will resurrect you. Looking at the words on the note, everyone's eyes showed a hint of surprise. What is this? Contract? Devil or God? Voices kept ringing, and everyone looked at the contract in front of them in a puzzled way. Although they were confused and vigilant, hope rose in their hearts. Then, some people couldn't wait to write their names. With the signing of the contract, the notes burned to ashes. No one refused the remaining hundreds of millions of people. Faced with a situation that was almost certain to die, they made a choice. Then, Lin Yi completed these contracts, and the power of the Wanchaiwu was activated. One by one, the true lives disappeared from the bodies of the contractors, and with their consciousness, they came to the Wanchaiwu and appeared at the spiritual level. A large number of true lives have appeared in the marine lifeland in the Wanchaiwu. They gathered here like swimming fish, and all consciousness fell into a deep sleep, not knowing where they are. At this time, the force that originally permeated the earth and had some unparalleled gravitational force on the true destiny had disappeared, which was the reason why he activated the contract ability now. In the outside world, countless people fell to the ground, motionless, and they lost their lives. The next moment, Lin Yi disappeared here, and when he appeared again, he had arrived at the gate of the ark. Zhao Hongxia was waiting here, and a note appeared in her hand. Everyone in the ark saw what happened outside, and everyone was surprised. This information was told to them by Lin Yi a long time ago. Those who sign the contract will be taken in by Lin Yi with their true destiny and their consciousness, and Lin Yi will revive them in the future. Because Lin Yi's true destiny has almost infinite power, it may be able to resist the swallowing of the black hole and eventually allow everyone's consciousness to survive. Although some people doubt whether this can succeed, this is already the last choice. No one refused, and everyone signed the contract. However, those who boarded the ark requested that the contract could not be exercised before the black hole completely swallowed the entire solar system. Lin Yi was also happy with this, because he hoped to conduct more analysis and find the basic principle of the infinite true destiny, found from the countless true destinies that signed the contract. Let's go, get on the spaceship. There are 20 minutes left before the spaceship takes off. Lin Yi nodded, and boarded the ark with Zhao Hongxia and came to their room. This spaceship was not created by humans in this era, but they found it from an ancient relic. With the help of some people with divine abilities, the repair of the spaceship was finally completed, allowing it to fly again. Many rooms were added to the spaceship, and the size of each room was only about 7 or 8 square meters, which could accommodate 4 people. All space was used to the maximum extent, and enough food was stored. This spaceship seemed to have the ability to compress space. There was a special warehouse, which was stacked with various materials transported, enough for the 50,000 people on the spaceship to survive for 10 years. This was a huge reserve of materials, carrying the last fire of mankind, although it was a dead end. Rumble. Accompanied by a huge roar, the spaceship slowly floated up. The soil on the top collapsed rapidly under the huge buoyancy, and the spacecraft slowly rose into the sky, faster and faster, like a meteor against the sky, rushing out of the blue planet. During the period, the 2 black and white changes in the sky were also skipped. At this time, they were connected together and in a mysterious state. When the spacecraft arrived in the universe, it only took 5 minutes. Countless people saw the pictures taken on the spacecraft through the screen in the room. The originally blue planet has turned into a dark one, and a strange vortex has appeared on the surface, covering almost all areas. The vortex is still expanding towards the sky. Everyone saw the scene and felt cold in their hearts. The Earth is about to be destroyed. Lin Yi and Zhao Hongxia live in the same room, and there are 2 people with divine abilities. They are all objects that Lin Yi has studied. Everyone has a gloomy look and is full of despair, but at least it is better than those who died. They can still live for a few years. It will take a few years for the black vortex to spread to the entire solar system. Lin Yi looked at the completely engulfed blue planet, where a ball of black and white light rushed in like a meteorite, without any stop. There was also a trace of contemplation in his eyes. He could not imagine that less than a year after he came back, the blue planet was also destroyed. He took a deep breath, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. It's really disappointing. Time always passes quickly, and in a blink of an eye, several years have passed. The huge spaceship sailed in the dead universe and has arrived at the border of the solar system. There is a huge barrier here, composed of countless high heat and particles, preventing any matter from leaving. At this time, behind this spaceship, a dark vortex is silently expanding in the universe. The sun has long been engulfed, and the same is true for the 9 planets. No matter can avoid being engulfed. Everyone on the spaceship has long been desperate. It has been several years since they came to the border of the solar system. Everyone is used to this crowded ship, barely maintaining order, and death is always around. Now, everyone looks at the dark vortex approaching the spaceship indifferently. Death seems to be coming today. At this time, someone has already activated the contract. Figures fell to the ground one after another, and their true destiny and their consciousness were collected in the Wanqi house. Lin Yi watched all this quietly, and he sat cross-legged on his bed. He closed his eyes slightly, and his mind focused on the Yiling Jing and the true destiny. Then let's start the final work. The power of truth flowed out of the true destiny, and then began to construct it according to the principles of the seventh true destiny. In the past few years, he was lucky to deduce the eternal nature of the seventh true destiny again for dozens of times, and completed the construction of 108 eternal properties. And now, he wants to use the power of truth to construct this true destiny. This new true destiny is more powerful than the original 81 eternal natures. It can allow Lin Yi to recover all the consumed true power within half an hour, and can also recover half of the true power consumed in the previous moment at any time during the consumption process every minute and every second, and can also restore the true power naturally at any time. When the time reaches half an hour, no matter how much true power is left, it can be recovered in an instant. With the injection of countless true powers at the spiritual level, 108 eternal properties are formed. They quickly begin to circulate, and a brilliant true destiny appears at the spiritual level. The appearance of this true destiny directly merges into the true destiny sphere composed of 6 true destinies, surrounding the Yiling Jing in the middle. Just as the seventh true destiny was completed, a mechanized voice suddenly sounded from the Yiling Jing. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1270. The construction of the seventh true life is 30% complete. The final impact is coming. The final order is launched. Whether it can survive the crisis will be judged. The result of the determination is that it can survive the final impact, safely reach the boundary of death, and start the final exploration mission. Users, please note that the Foreign Spiritual Sutra is the original 7 Kings, to build the prototype of the final order system. It can only be activated after completing the seventh true life. After activation, it will evolve into the final order system. The system exists for the ultimate purpose, a survival mission on the edge of death. With an unimaginable burst of cyan light, Lin Yi was surprised to find that there were strange changes in his mind. The Foreign Spirit Sutra inhales all the 7 true lives that he has condensed. Then, it began to melt rapidly, turning into a ball of cyan light, and finally turned into a cyan dot, and then disappeared, and its existence could no longer be perceived. But Lin Yi had an inexplicable feeling, as if something was connected to him. A mechanical and cold voice sounded in his mind. The final order system has been successfully launched, entering an unknown state of existence and non-existence, system detection is started, and the final impact has arrived. Those who are bound to the system, please be aware that we are about to enter the boundary of death. Mission 1, arrive safely at the border of death. At this time, Lin Yi was very confused. He originally thought that there was some kind of terrifying existence hidden in the Sutra of Strange Spirits, waiting to harvest him. But when he completed the 108 infinite true lives of eternal nature, all true lives and the source of this power turned into an inexplicable system. The other party actually issued the task, which made him feel baffled. His heart became colder and colder. Everything seemed to tell him that there was a pair of mysterious hands controlling everything. This thing seems to be made up of 7 existences, but I can't hear it. At this time, he noticed that a light curtain appeared in front of his line of sight. A green light bar appeared on the light screen. The moment he saw the light bar, he knew what it was. This is the upper limit of his true power. There were 7 light spots under the light bar. Looking at these 7 light spots, he knew that they corresponded to his true destiny. His true life power system seems to have been visualized. He felt as if he could still use the power of his true life. He breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. At least I can still use my true life, which is okay. With the brilliance of his true destiny shining in his eyes, he immediately saw through the spaceship and stared at the darkness ahead. Under the green light bar, the light spots representing the true meaning of life slowly brightened. A turbulent dark vortex ahead is rushing towards here, and the true fate explanation continues to decompose the information. In about a minute, this place will be swallowed up. At this time, he noticed the green light bar on the screen, which was slowly consuming. But the infinite life among the 7 light spots has also begun to brighten, and the consumption is recovering rapidly, and the recovery speed is greater than the consumption. The green light bar did not decrease, and Lin Yi felt slightly relieved. If that's the case, maybe it can stick. At this moment, all Lin Yi's past accumulation was consumed in this instant and turned into this unique mysterious system. And now he has to rely on this system to survive. In his mind, his consciousness constructed 7 lines of true life information floating there quietly. At this time, these 7 lines of true life information were creating a cycle. With the information of unlimited true life as the core, it is connected to the other 6 true lives. However, this cycle does not seem to be perfect, and there are still flaws, and the flaws come from the infinite true life, which cannot really restore the true power infinitely. As the true life information circulated, Lin Yi discovered something amazing. My own consciousness is slowly integrating into the cycle and being separated from my own mind. At this time, the mind is like a tool, and pure consciousness seems to be his foundation. This was basically integrating with the cycle of true life information, and he had a vague feeling. The true message is himself, and he is the true message. However, the cycle of true life information is not perfect yet. Maybe only by truly creating a perfect true life infinite will my consciousness undergo some kind of qualitative change. While he was thinking, the raging dark waves had completely swallowed up the spaceship he was in. In the hazy surroundings, there was a terrifying power that was consuming everything. The spacecraft fell apart the moment it came into contact with this black vortex and became a member of the black vortex. Lin Yi's whole body shone with the power of true destiny and perseverance. At the same time, the source of true destiny was running. He turned himself into a round shape, completely eliminating his flesh and blood. His body turned into an extremely tiny point. The double protection of true life and true life perseverance made him bump in this terrifying black whirlpool. In his mind, all the beings who signed a contract with him were transformed into mental states and hidden deep in his mind. With the power of true life and perseverance, they were also protected and preserved their most fundamental consciousness and true life. Lin Yi watched the green light strip, and at this time, 3 true life light spots were flashing. The green light bar is slowly fading, but the recovery speed is also increasing. However, after all, the consumption exceeds the recovery, and the light bar is still slowly disappearing. In this wonderful black vortex, everything seems to be upside down, and time and space seem to no longer exist. However, the true destiny system has its own time system. When the green light bar consumed about 4/5, it suddenly began to recover violently. The true destiny infinity suddenly emitted a violent brilliance, which was obviously the ultimate recovery once every half an hour. The true power recovered to its peak, and Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. If it was only this intensity, he should be able to survive. At this time, he was also observing the outside world, very carefully. He couldn't see through this black vortex at all. Even relying on the true destiny Daoji, the distance he could see was limited. He could still only see a dark vortex, and even the material that constituted this vortex could not be analyzed in a short time. Time passed by minute, and in a blink of an eye, he didn't know how much time had passed. In this process, he saw a lot of things that shocked him. Corpses appeared from time to time in the vortex. Those corpses were very strange, and there was nothing in their bodies. Their true destiny and consciousness seemed to be gone, leaving only a simple corpse. In the process, the corpses he discovered were not only those of humans on Earth, but also some unknown mysterious creatures, densely packed in every corner of this black vortex.